Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us on the #1 breakfast show in the country, Morning at NTV. Now we want to talk about the coronavirus pandemic that is raging unabated. It's still rearing its very ugly head in various jurisdictions in the world. Like I did hint before going for a short break, 185,078,000 cases have been registered on the global stage. 4 million people have actually succumbed. Yes, that's how bad the situation is. We're not talking about 100,000 people, not even 500,000 people, not even 2 million, not even 3 million. A whopping 4 million people have succumbed to the novel coronavirus disease. And now if you're living near someone who is saying the coronavirus disease is a hoax, that is the enemy. That is your absolute enemy. If that person is not wearing a face mask, that is your absolute enemy. Yes, please be cognizant of those facts. I have the RDC of Pader. Yes, that is none other than Mr. Duzman Okay. He's here with me in the studio to talk about how the coronavirus pandemic is affecting his people within Pader district. How are they implementing the SOPs? Are people adhering? What seems to be the problem? Is this lockdown effective? And are they receiving some of the relief help that is being expedited by government, even though it started yesterday? We want to get a feel of what is happening. And we'll also talk to Mr. Geoffrey Osborne Ocheng. He is the RDC of Amuru district. He's there via Zoom. Very good morning, Mr. Geoffrey Osborne Ocheng. He shall be also talking to us about what is happening within his jurisdiction. How are they implementing the standard operating procedures? What seem to be the challenges that are impeding those efforts and so forth? Are they also receiving the interventions that kicked off yesterday? A very good morning, Mr. Duzman Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Romeo.
An absolute pleasure.
First of all,
what's happening within Pader district?
Allow me to first of all get this mask off my face.
Indeed.
Because by
social
SOPs,
distancing
social distance is very good.
Indeed.
So this is the pass to life.
Indeed.
Thank you very much. First of all, greetings from Padel district and the whole of East Acholi. They say should bring love to the people of Uganda and specifically to the city.
I love my people from that side.
They are very nice, very good, and we are blessed.
We shall be visiting soon. For a people's parliament, maybe.
Oh, wow, a pleasure. Please come down there and then you'll hear the real voice of Uganda.
Indeed.
Thank you.
So in respect to the coronavirus pandemic, the skyrocketing cases of COVID-19 in your jurisdiction, how affected or how dire is this situation within your area?
Right now, you know, in Padel, it's a rural setup. Rural setup and urban setups are quite different. You people differently, you behave differently. This side for us, the other side, we behave differently. And right now, as I speak, the situation is what we are holding it at bay. The figures are not going up, the figures are not going down, but we are reducing the number of deaths. So basically, that's the challenge. Because when you tell people that we are doing very well, they will lower their guards. And this is a war of putting the guards up. So Padel district, as I speak right now, with the help of task force, with the help of every leader, and by every leader, I mean right from the village leader up to the top member of parliament, we are all on what we call Harambe project to make sure we save not only Padel, but the entire region and the entire country. Because, you know, COVID has changed.
Indeed.
The virus has really... You remember those days when you used to see people in China putting on these masks 5 years ago and something? I could not believe that could come here. But we have it, me
They are
and
putting
you.
it on because of the smog and the unfavorable atmosphere
yes,
within their
the
area,
smoke,
the
you
climate
remember.
change and everything.
Yes, it was about smoke, and they would say, you have messed up your country.
Yes.
It will never come to us.
And
Now,
we didn't know the face mask would come in handy.
we didn't know the face mask would come in. And we are always told as human beings that each time you look at yourself and look at your umbilical cord, it shows you that you're connected to another human being. So it means what happens in the USA, it really affects you. Don't sit down and say, oh, right now, it will not come. So that is the challenge we have, and we're embracing the same atmosphere.
And indeed,
Padel.
Mr. Duzman Okay, this pandemic and this second lockdown, it's not like the first one.
No, correct.
In the first one, when you are infected, you would infect people between 21 to 39 people.
Correct.
But now in the second wave, we are talking about one person infecting 80 to 100 people. That's how bad the situation is. Now, I was talking to Joseph Ocheng yesterday from Tororo, and he was telling us people are not, you can't even tell people to social distance anymore because they see the problem with their eyes. Is that the situation within Padel before we go to Amor?
Really, in Padel, it is not different. First wave, you remember when we came in, and this was really magnified by us, the leaders. You remember when we used to tell the people the government would come out, and politicians told people this is real hearsay, somebody is looking for money, and things like that. Everybody relaxed. But right now, when we speak, the numbers have multiplied. So apparently in Padel, like you'd see in Tororo, because we are fighting an invisible enemy. That is why we come in to test. That is why we don't believe in one another. I cannot tell who is positive, who is negative, and that is why as a government comes in with the intervention, the scientific intervention of testing, how many out of 10 are positive? It gives us a sample study to know. And right now in Padel, when we do that sample studies, unbelievably, this virus is funny. It has displayed how different people behave differently in certain areas. For example, you go to one sub-county, you have negatives. Everybody's another sub-county, everybody there almost 80% are positive out of 10. So it means that there is something that we need to do. So what may be somewhere in Karamoja and something like that, it may be a little bit different depending on people's behavior.
Indeed. Let's see the contrast of how people are grappling with this COVID-19 pandemic within Amoro district. We have Geoffrey Osbono-Cheng. A very good morning, sir. Talk to us about the plight of the vulnerable within Amoro. How is the COVID-19 pandemic rearing its very ugly head within that jurisdiction? Mr. Geoffrey.
Thank you, my brother Romeo, and my senior brother there, Dusman, okay, plus all the viewers. Good morning. Amoro this morning is looking bright, and I want to thank the management of NTV for reaching out to the people of Amoro. You know, Amoro has been the epicenter of this pandemic, and we suffered more than any other parts of the country. And right now, if you go more especially in the border town of Elegu, you realize that the people are now behaving funny, because what we as the district task force came up with was first to scale and divide the district into sections where the transmission was too high, and also the interior of the district where we had minimal transmission. But right now, as we talk, the virus is now everywhere. It is everywhere in the district. But what we have done as the district task force is to come up with mechanism of seeing that we scale down the transmissions, and this is working out because we came up with a process of ensuring that we first dialogue among ourselves to see that everybody understands the language which we are going to talk, and also to tell the people not to panic, because we realized that in the first wave, the reason why people were dying and people were behaving funny because of the panic. We told them that indeed, when you get this virus, you are not going to die. It's not a death trap. So you should accept. So this panic was so much, but now we have talked on that. We have also involved development partners to see that we handle the issue of the psychosocial support, because the mental aspects was too much. People, you get them talking alone while moving on road. Seeing anything, you just fear. The fear of unknown was too much. But right now, as we talk, at least there's a sign that everyone understands what is there. And people now watch. When they see you coming, like you, Romeo, they will ask you, where are you from? Where is your test result? They will ask you. They will not allow to see any need in the society. It's a sign that indeed awareness. And you see, for us to fight this, we need to be disciplined. If we are disciplined, this pandemic will be history. I think that is how Amoro, now you don't see Amoro in the other map of being up there, because the people seem now to be disciplined, and we are now zeroing down to community testing. We are testing people in the community using the RDT to see that we handle them. And the home-based care is picking up, training our VHTs, which we have done with supports from our development partners. And this has worked out. And I want to applaud the government, more especially the President of the Republic of Uganda. The President did us proud by closing the schools, because most of the problem that hit northern Uganda were children that came back from Kampala, from schools in Kampala. They hit us seriously, because in all these homes where the children went, we realized that we had numbers of families that were sick. So all this was a result of coming back from school in Kampala. And as leaders of the region, we said, no, you are not coming back to homes without us testing you. So Gulu University made us proud by ensuring that they tested all our children, and we knew their status. So it means that the government was quick to understand that in schools, many of these schools proprietors were hiding, not telling government the truth. But the situation in schools was worse. And if government had taken longer, we were going to start hearing of death in schools in Kampala. But I'm happy right now the situation is going down. And I beg, let's not politicize the thing. It is a pandemic. The other time we were seeing it from one, but now it is with us. So this is a sign that the world is a global village. Anything that happens in any parts of the world will reach you. So the best thing is to be disciplined and understands one another. Thank you.
Geoffrey Osborne Ocheng is the RDC for Amaro District. Thank you very much for those insights. Let me also bring in Dusman Oke again. Dusman Oke, let's talk about whether or not you're winning the fight against this COVID-19, the heinous COVID-19 disease. Recently, you are in the news, no doubt, because of a problem in your area, lack of oxygen. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say that we are winning this battle. Indeed. And we shall win it.
Indeed.
Definitely.
We have
this virus we must win. In Padel, we are even looking at the post-COVID period, because we are going to fight COVID and we shall overcome it. Indeed. Then the periods after are going to be a bigger challenge for us. You know, we have come through a war, and the conflicts, the after effects are really more painful even than you would say the war itself. So in Padel, we are really handling that. And for the whole country, we tell you, don't look at COVID only, prepare for the period after
COVID-19.
Now, definitely I have a challenge in my district. You know, it's a very small district cut out of another district. So I don't have a hospital, a referral hospital. You have seen what has come in the budgets. They are all being given to the referral hospitals. So that is the biggest challenge that I've had in my district, because it means I have to move my patients to Kitugum or Gulu. But from Gulu, they were already full at some point T. So we had to be referred back to Nambole. But I'd like to say...
You had to be referred back to Nambole?
I mean, we had to be referred to Nambole from Pade.
So you'd get your patients from Pade district
You get the patients from Pade to Nambole. That was the challenge.
Go ahead.
Then, but right now as I speak, all regional hospitals, based on what I have seen mine, are full of oxygen. In fact, all you need is your oxygen cylinders. We are able to get the oxygen cylinders filled for us for Pade district. But that means we are also missing other PPEs in that particular hospital. So it means that even if I have the oxygen cylinder, I don't have all other assets, needed things to contain the patient. It means I have to drive the patient here. But like I already said, there is always a ray of hope, light at the end of the tunnel. As I speak right now, I'd like to thank our members of parliament, headed by the woman MP. She has been really able to go to the PS, together with all of us, to talk about this situation. We may not get a district hospital now, but we shall get all other facilities that can help in a district hospital. That is one of the areas that we challenge. But it's not the only one. I want to tell you that contrary to what people say, you remember, I believe I could have been one of the first Ugandans to show you an RDT, rapid testing kit. In Kampala, people didn't have it, but the government had already supplied them to our district much earlier. It means the government was already prepared about that. And the COVID is not only, the virus is one of the diseases that are affecting people. Now, let me tell you something. I went to enforce to these young people, they are playing cards and things like that, and they think they're strong. And they tell me, who told you that COVID is the only killer disease? We can protect ourselves from it and die from other diseases and things like that. So I picked a point that when we are fighting COVID, and this is what the government is doing, it actually fights other diseases. Malaria is down there. We have the nodding syndrome in our district. Right now, when you go to my store is full of drugs of other opportunistic diseases like malaria, HIV, and things like that. So concurrently,
meaning your people largely have no access to health services at this time because of the travel restrictions.
Perfect. Of course, that is a challenge. But remember, the president told us nobody should die.
It means right now people are not seeking help for other comorbidities like that, not other than COVID-19. So they are staying at home and they're not seeking help anywhere else.
No, they do. And that is what we have been told. All health centers, you allow people. For example, our first priority is the HIV.
But we are hearing that it's the people who are hesitant to go to these health centers because they know that's where COVID-19 is and they might acquire it. What is the situation in your area?
Definitely, that is a challenge even for everybody. Even when I'm coming to Kampala, they warn me. They say, my brother, Kampala is infested, 100% is COVID. So when I go back, I have to convince them and actually tested. And I tested at Karuma before I entered. So it is a general situation, but it is about managing the situation. Now, one of the challenges that I've had, which is also in the rural area, is the burial. When you die, people are abandoning you, they run away and they just leave you that way. But right from the beginning, the minister had already trained these people, contrary to the views that, of course, people were not undergoing training. Now, let me teach the people outside there, especially in my rural area. Correct, about burials. When somebody dies, that means it does not breathe. Correct? That is the first thing you lose, the breathing aspect. Now, this virus comes through breathing in and breathing out. That is why we have the mask between ourselves. So when somebody dies, that area is completely put out of action. It means the other virus that could have remained is on the surface. That is when you call in the experts. Now, I want people to understand this so that we can manage these barriers locally. The experts who have been already trained, they come up, sanitize the body, dress up the body, cover all the other parts, put in a bag, what do you call it? The bag where they put the body, which is sanitized, put it in a coffin, prepare it for you, put on a mask, then that means you can bury.
Do we still have locals who are still practicing the culture of washing bodies, which can exacerbate the spread of COVID-19?
That is one of the challenges that we have.
It's still happening?
In Acholi, they believe if you die and you're buried without washing your face, you will not meet your maker very well. And I believe the same.
That is a huge danger.
Yes, and I believe the same in the Islamic cultures. But now we are telling people this is quite different. And people really do understand this. So please don't touch that body. Leave it to the experts. We will treat it and then give it back.
All right. That is Duzman Oke, the RDC for Padar District, shining a light on what is happening within his jurisdiction as far as fighting the COVID-19 pandemic is concerned. We also have from Amoru District, Geoffrey Osborne Ocheng, the RDC for that jurisdiction. George, talk to us about the differences, what differences does enforcing lockdown measures in a border district like Amoru have over other jurisdictions? What difference does enforcing lockdown measures in a border district like Amoru have over those jurisdictions elsewhere, Geoffrey?
Thank you. We realized that many people were shunning up other health facilities. So as a district, we came up to tell the community about integrated health management, to tell people that all other illness needs to go concurrently with issues of COVID, because our minds as district shouldn't only think of COVID. There are other illness that in the first wave, we realized that we lost like 5 people who failed to get their drugs, who were on antiviral drugs. So this time we have got vehicles from right north actually. These vehicles are moving around the district to see that they deliver drugs to these people. And also, we have maintained that all our health facilities to be open 24/7 to see that they attend to our people. COVID will be a sign of saying we are not opening health facility because you are feared. So this fear is right now. When you reach at the border, community there in another one. Because one thing is, they said they were hardly hit by the pandemic, and for them, they have built immunity. So the only thing now they do, when they see any new person with face mask, they will tell you, go away, put on your face mask, you brought for us something. So for them, they are now too careful about themselves. The only worry now is the people who are transiting. I'm up and out, the president made it very clear that when you are coming in the country, you should come with a PCR certificate. So it means anyone coming right now, you come when you're fine. If you see the level of positivity right now, the truck drivers have also reduced. They are also becoming too careful of themselves. And the issue of parking along the highway, it has stopped. When the president said people or all these truck drivers should park on a seclusion point. So now we have designed, and our seclusion points is at a Lego at the border point. So no parking along the 9 centers along the road here in Amur. No parking. What we do, we tell community no. But now the problem is these small bars around. The small bars are bringing us problem. People say the president said when he called his mobilizer, they said they were sanitizing us. So this problem now, they have changed the language into sanitizing their throat. So it's a problem. How do you sanitize your throat with alcohol? And it is bringing people together. So these are things that we need to continue telling people, that though the bars are closed, but the drinking styles should be in their homes, not coming together. The other day, I got people in here in Elegu. They were taking the local brew, the Marua, and they were all having the pipes. And they said they are social distancing, but they are getting the source where they are picking the pipe from, the center of the pot. It is one source. So how do you know that you are not going to transmit something? They sat apart and with the pipe, but at the end of the day, the source where they're picking from, and also the stress they're using to pull the marrow. It was a very funny thing. But I want to tell you that indeed, as district task force, we are doing everything within our reach to see that we protect our people. And here we don't protect only the people of Amur. We protect the entire East African, because everybody is here in Amuro. Everybody is here, and when we are protecting, we don't look from where you are, but we're talking about humanity. So the issue is humanity. And I want, as my brother Dusman said there, the issue is we are winning this fight. We are winning it, and we are winning it. You see, it's number one security threat in this country. So as chair of the district security, I want to tell the world that we are winning this fight, and we are going to win it. So there should be no panic at all. There should be no panic. We are winning it. And the only thing is people should just be disciplined. It's all about being disciplined. When we're disciplined, we are going to reach where we are. Thank you.
All right, George Osborne Ocheng is the RDC for Amoru district. Let's talk about the compounded risk that is coming in from the refugees. Remember, this week the United Nations came out and sounded the alarm that over 4.5 million children within Southern Sudan are on the cusp of starvation. That means even the adult population is grappling all the same in the wake of their celebrations to mark 10 years of their independence. I could verifiably tell you right now, there is no celebration coming in from Southern Sudan because of the sanctions, because of the hopes that have faded from the faces of the children there. So many of those people who are grappling are leaving Southern Sudan and moving towards Uganda to seek some help. Mr. George Osborne Ocheng would like to know how many of these refugees are actually coming into Uganda through Amoru district. What seems to be the situation there?
Yes, the situation here is not bad. We are doing everything. The only thing is what the challenge which I'm having right now is the porous borders. The porous borders is something that is affecting us seriously, and we'll need to handle, because you know Uganda is the source of food for South Sudan. So the challenge which we have right now is the South Sudanese sneaking in the country to see that they get food, because the border is closed and many of them there cannot afford testing, the PCR test. So this is something that we need President Museveni need to discuss with his counterpart in the Republic of South Sudan to see that they help the community of South Sudan into testing, because the market which they have is here in Uganda. So if we continue the way we are right now, we are going to realize that our sisters and brothers from the Republic of Sudan, more especially in the towns of Nimule, they will die of hunger, because they will have nothing to eat, because the source of survival depends on us. So this is something, if government, the other side, or the East African government comes in to help them do general tests, maybe they do it weekly or in a fortnight, every fortnight time. So this will help. But I want to say that the border is well and everything is going on as the designs are. And government is in charge. Government is in charge. Coupled with this directive, people are faring up. But what is amazing us right now, and I want to report to the world, is how community have embarked on agriculture. Everyone now is going to the garden. If you see my office, people are lining up to get letters to see that they go to the garden. So we are going to be the food baskets of this country.
Indeed.
Anyone, if you lack food, the only destination is going to be Amoro, because everyone is in the garden. I think COVID has given us another opportunity to explore, and agriculture is now the only one. And everyone is in the garden. They have opened it and they are planting. Actually, right now, if you come here, beans, it is 2,000 a kilo. So it means things are getting up very cheap here. So we are going to supply the entire country, but we'll first start by supplying the people of Acholi sub-region. More especially my brother there, those man, okay, he should come for beans here at home. We have everything. We'll supply them there in Pade. So things are there. Even people from NTV, please, food is here in Amoro. We are digging. COVID, we have won the fight, but we have now gone to another thing. That is opening up, tilling our land. This is where we are right now.
Well, George, that is Geoffrey Osborne Ocheng, the RDC for Amoro District, is saying there's a lot of food in there, meaning they might not need those interventions coming in from government, the 100,000. Well, if they are tilling their gardens. I'll get back to you, Geoffrey Osborne, to talk about whether or not your people need that 100,000. Well, it seems like you have enough food, but the situation could be different in Pade. Let's talk about the challenges you've encountered on your journey in this fight against the pandemic.
Perfectly fine. First of all, Amoro is my home district. I come from Amoro.
Indeed.
That is a very beautiful district.
So you just hop onto Amoro and get some beans and then come back to Pade.
I hope, really. I'll walk because the curfew does not allow us to,
Geoffrey is smiling. Go ahead.
To cross. Secondly, I like to thank in the similar way development partners. They have been able really to help us manage these challenges. And I don't call them problems, I call them challenges because we can overcome. So one of the things that we really very lucky about is the right North Acholi. It has been able really to help us train our VHTs, train most of the people, but also we have decided to include the LC1 chairman. Without the LC1 chairman, you cannot know what is happening.
Have the village health teams been empowered?
Yes, they have actually, for us, by the North Right Acholi, as the government comes in, because it has been able to train them, and really the facilitation is something that
do you think when it comes to the implementation of the SOPs, we could have used the village health teams to help with the information dissemination instead of using the security, who are heavy-handed and are causing a lot of problems?
You see, like I've
causing behavioral change.
Like I've said before, the security will not change much. The security is to deal with the unrural people that are there. Now, in my district, so people are complying, and I'd like to thank the people of Padel. I no longer go outside ready to fight with them, apart from few youths which came from Kampala. You guys sent some of these guys to our areas.
But they were already from there.
They were already from there. So you exported problems to us. And now that they are our problems, which you brought to us, because they are our children, we have to manage them. People understand it differently. When we round up, we are struggling, how much fine, what do? We don't take people to prison. Yesterday, you know, I came in.
Yeah.
I came in this morning.
Yes.
Yesterday, we rounded up a few youths who were gambling, and we said, now we are going to take you for fine. They said, but we don't have the money. All of it is already gone. Said, now what do we do for you? Said, instead of prison, we have been told about 2 months. Why don't you cane us? Now, can you imagine people saying to the security that why don't you give us 10 and we go? So it was no longer negotiation of the money, but the kind of punishment. Now, if you come after people have negotiated the two about their punishment, you a human right, and you find the caning going on, you'll be mistaken thinking that actually it is a violation of human rights. Yes, it's an agreement, but that is a way of handling. Now, other challenges definitely I'm talking about is alcoholism in my district, because we have this jerrycan alcohol, and that alcohol is not the pure alcohol. I don't know whether you have ever tested
I don't know something.
Ajono is very good. We had Lirarira, Kasese. All our parents took it, and those who came from some good schools like Intare school tested it in Kajogo. We used to go. So if you have not tested that, you have not yet fulfilled your life. Indeed. And then you stop it. That was fairly good. But this alcohol is made out of industrial chemicals. Wow. From sugar chemicals. It is actually not alcohol. It is destroying people. Now, I have put a stop to those jerrycans coming in my district. Must stop. Thank you. Because when this alcohol comes in and find already a weakened system, it weakens your immunity. So when COVID-19 they will just finish off. You see, this virus is an opportunistic virus. It goes to you when you already have other problems. Everybody at our age, anybody who's above 50, you have this, you have the other, you have that. And that is something that is really challenging. Secondly, domestic violence. And it is not only in Pade. I have seen it.
The whole country. The whole country.
I'm telling you, it is a big challenge. When you are young, you get married at 25. The person you married, the lady was looking nice and she was really good. Somebody had 6 packs like you. And really things were moving on. Yes. 10 years down the road, the 6 packs are no longer seen. It is 1 pack. The lady who used to have the smart, now you cannot differentiate the front and the behind. Now you start looking the other side. But it was you who chose. Yes. That is why I love African culture. They say, first bring us the person you like. You take to the lady, you take to the both families, and you certify. So we are telling you, you chose this, stay together and find a way of accommodating one another. Don't look at the past, look at the front. So that is the best way. And of course, I'm not going to look at the smoke, but I'll rather look at the fire. If we put out the fire, we actually give these people some kind of relief. The problem is poverty, Mr. Duzman, okay? Poverty is actually exacerbating issues of gender-based violence, and that's why our government has decided, let's give out some 100,000 shillings to some of these individuals to see if we can alleviate the situation. Correct. Is this situation the same within your area? Are some of your people also earmarked to receive this money? Because I understand it started yesterday, and if you had people who are already registered, they might not have received that money, but are they ready to receive it? Yeah, of course it started. Or even being considered. Yeah. You can see that we started with you people in the cities. Yes. We are told municipalities. Gulu has got it. My people of Pade are asking me, RDC, now you are in Kampala. Where is the bag? We are told that for you, it will not come through mobile money. But all I tell you that it is a process, the system. The government is still studying it to see how has it done in the other side. But I can tell you in my district, in town councils, people have already been registered. And we had this data. So this data has been collected, but it's very, very important not to excite people. You cannot go and say, tomorrow, you receive this money. You have been seeing on social media, Nabanja's money, I'm holding my phone. It is really funny. So I would not like to raise people's hopes to that extent. But you have already been quantified. We had the data of everybody. And who doesn't need the money? Actually, money is so important that even when you have it, even before spending it, your mode of walking, the way you behave, the way you do it, but it's also a source of danger. But what about the elderly in your area? How are they grappling? Oh, yeah, the elderly is another challenge. But you remember they had the elderly grant, which was going on there. Now the government says it has to continue. All these grants continue. Definitely, that is the issue. And I also have challenges. The SAGE money. Yeah, sorry? You're talking about the SAGE money, 25,000. Yes, the 25,000 continues to come in. Is it enough for them to actually make ends meet? It is not enough. But something little is better. But this is now what is causing challenges with the leaders. You know, every leader is now in trouble. From RDC, LC5 chairman, You have seen the people at the ministry, everybody is called a thief. Now, if you are not being called a thief, that means you are not working. It means only those who are up and working are the people. So you will be called names, you will be called everything, but you need to stay calm and explain to the people.
All right. Dusman, okay, before I go to Geoffrey Osborne Ocheng, there's
Yes.
also another issue, which is largely not about COVID-19.
Yes.
Because when you put a lot of focus on COVID-19, you forget other diseases.
Exactly.
And the fact that you do not have a regional referral hospital, yeah? And it's just ferrying COVID-19 patients somewhere else to get treated. Now, what about other diseases? What do you do when people fall sick from other diseases? Where do you take them?
That is a very good question. We have got ambulances. Luckily enough, the government was able to send to us 2 ambulances. The ambulances will always help us to evacuate the emergencies. We have also members of parliament bringing in ambulances, but all these drugs have been secured at the health centers. All health centers, 2, health center 3, most of these drugs are in that particular area. So that is how we are managing it. And anybody with such emergencies, that is why even the LC1 chairman were told to help. You don't need to wait for an RDC. Please move to those health centers and access. And for example, let me talk about ambulances. Ambulances are different. When you come from the areas of the mountain, you will see, do you know the kind of ambulance they use? That is 4 human beings carrying one on their shoulders. So that is another source of ambulance. So for us, we try to modify and see which ambulance we can really. But we say, go to your health centers, don't die in your houses. Nobody will touch you. The security personnel are your own children, they're your own brothers. These are the people. And they will assess you. You can't come with the papers and everybody. So please don't die. But for the emergency ones, we have to grapple with going to referral hospital. That is why we appeal to whoever can listen. Please, we need a referral hospital.
Indeed. Besides the regional
Just
referral hospital,
be-
what else should government be doing to help us in this fight against COVID-19, especially in Pade?
Oh, definitely. Apart from that, we need PPEs. PPEs are a challenge. Yes, they send, but they can never be enough. So once we have the PPEs, I have seen the budget. Something is going to come to the district task force. But right now, we are still working. So when these things come down, we have a plan which reaches down to the common person, to the common man, which is going to be executed at the village level. So once we have the PPEs, I'm not going to classify which one and that will be extremely good. But for the training they have done, we are really trained. The government has trained the people. Everybody is ready. So all we need is the PPE and the money, 100,000. Even me, I am interested in 100,000.
You're also vulnerable, Mr. Okay.
Everybody is vulnerable. Vulnerability is relative. So I'm waiting for 100,000 as well.
Dusman, okay, never disappoint. He is the RDC for Pader district. Thank you very much, sir, for having made the time to speak to us. You traveled all the way from Pader to just come to NTV and speak to us. That is very honorable, sir. You are responding to your duty. All right. Now, my name is Romy Busiku. This is the #1 breakfast show that is large on first-hand information. If you didn't know, 185,078,000 cases of COVID-19 have been registered on the global stage. Did you also know 4 million people have succumbed to COVID-19? Let's take a breather. We'll return with more of that information.